Got a hammer. So we're starting today's video with a hammer. We brought Donnie on a little adventure today. Ugh. You guys remember BTR? You guys don't remember BTR? Big Time Rush. Kendall, he was my favorite. And then you had James, always goofing. James was the goofer of the group. You guys remember the third guy? Carlos. He was like the suave one, you know? And then of course we have the biggest loser of them all, Logan. This drives me nuts. And why is it anytime people go and shoot, they can't freaking pick up their garbage? Disgusting. We're out here on BLM property and people think they just have to unload all this garbage and shoot it and then leave it. No, that's when you hit yourself. Harder. Donis McDonnerson is his actual full surname, but you just call him Donnie the deer for short. Up and push it down. There you go. His helmet keeps him safe. We're gonna go shoot. We're gonna shoot some long bombs today. Getting ready. We've got Donnie at 92 yards right here. So we're going to dial and see how close we are. I actually just switched over. I've been shooting the Axis all summer. And I had these carbon injections from last year. And this is what I'm going to hunt with. So we're going to have to change the sight tape and everything. But we're going to see how close they are. These are a little bit longer than the Axis I was shooting. But they're actually lighter per inch. I think these are 10.1 grains per inch. The Axis I was shooting, the 5mm, are 10.7 grains per inch. So being that these are longer, they're pretty close in overall weight. I hit foam, don't know where. So another little tech tip. I don't like the word tech tip because I'm not a techie guy. Let's just go Casey tip. When you're shooting, getting ready for the hunt, make sure your quiver is on properly, which it's not. One thing I like to do is, I know a lot of guys that will shoot all summer long without their quiver on their bow, and then hunting season comes on and they bolt the quiver down and go out and hunt. I like to try to shoot all summer with my quiver on, and I always shoot with the 5 arrows in there because I'm hunting with 6 arrows in my quiver, take one out to obviously shoot. So I try to practice that way as well because it does change things. So the first shot was just a little back. That was barely on the foam. You gonna shoot this far? Mm-hmm. Okay. How are you gonna aim?
High.
Yeah, 3/4 of the way there.
Where's your bow?
I don't have a bow. Rebar.
High.
Way high, huh?
Yeah.
Where'd
High
that go?
again.
High again?
Yeah.
Well, it's like every shot's going higher. I don't know where I'm going. It's a good way to blow through half a dozen arrows. That's high. Started out really good, went downhill fast. Three in, 3 out. What do you do? When you miss these carbon arrows, do the bend test. Make sure you haven't fractured your arrow. Alright, so I had 3 decent shots and then 3 shots that were just high. I think my bow's on. It's always typical, you want to blame it on your equipment, but just me, I'm not holding still, not squeezing the trigger, punching it a little bit.
Let's see.
That looked money.
Felt better. Hi, I felt it, I knew it.
Back. Yeah, I'm fine.
Right?
Yeah.
Feeling better now. Reason we shoot these distances 92 yards, not that I'm gonna shoot an animal that far, but then you move up to a more reasonable shot that you would take like 40 or 50, and if you've been shooting out to a 90, 100 yards, it's 40 and 50 yard shots really feel like chip shots at that point. Plus you can really tell what your bow is doing at a longer distance. So if you're shooting at 40, 50 yards, and then maybe say you're shooting out right an inch, well, you go back out to 90 yards and shoot, you're going to be a foot right. And so then you can really fine tune your setup, because if you're right on at 100, everything under that's going to be even closer. So we're going to move up now to like 65, 70 yards and shoot some arrows there. So this is a lot more realistic shot here. This is 69 yards, 68 yards. I thought I hit that every time except for once last time. Hit him once, missed him 4 times. But all 3 of my arrows were 4 arrows that were missed were grouped that big.
No.
Does it look like 3 arrows are in there consistent?
Yeah.
Feeling better. More confidence. Confidence is the key here.
Got some pretty good nice shots done.
I've got some pretty terrible shots too. Group was about that big, not the greatest. Had 2 really nice shots.
You got 1 in 10 range.
3 were a little back. Something I know that I need to work on, and I noticed last year when we hunted with the Born and Raised crew, they were very good at, is setting their feet. So I was shooting here on this angle. You really want to have your opened up, but I noticed when we get set up to call, Trevor was really good about this. He'd get a really good footing, make sure he felt good on it, flat, and he had a really good stance. And he did this every time. Right when we started calling, we had a bowl close. It'd be the first thing he'd do to get his lanes, and then he'd get his feet set. My follow through felt better that time. Okay, we're gonna try something out. We're gonna practice something. We're gonna call this rosy shot, frontal. Okay, there's a lot of controversy in the archery woods about frontal shots, and I can see both sides, but Born and Raised talk about it a lot. I know Corey Jacobson has talked about the frontal shot a lot, and a lot of time, especially when you're hunting elk in thick country and you're calling, it's going to be your only opportunity to shoot a bull is full frontal shot. There's some science behind it, obviously. I have never taken a frontal shot until last year, and when we got over to Oregon, Cody and Trevor and Trent and Steve did a really good job talking us through the frontal shot and how important it is to understand it and how deadly it can be. And so first day out, if you guys watched the Land of the Free project last year, I killed a bull, Roosevelt bull, at 6 yards, full frontal, and it was a lethal shot. Some of the most lethal shots I've ever seen on camera have been frontal shots. But the way you gotta look at it is any angling shot, you got the lungs and you got the heart, right? So if he's quartering away, you know, you have to aim back, always look at that opposite shoulder. Same with the frontal shot. It's a lot lower than people think. I think a lot of times people are trying to shoot up here. That's not where you want to be. You want to be right here in this breastplate. If your arrow comes in, we're going to be shooting up a little bit, so I'm going to be aiming a little bit low. But this is my shot right here. If you look at the lungs here, they come in. But you have a chance of going through the heart and the lungs with the frontal shot. One thing I'd say about the frontal shot is you have a super small target. And I see where people say, you know, like you hit him in the neck, you could hit him in the neck and hit just neck meat and not hit something vital. And, you know, obviously cause the animal to be sick and he'd live for a while. He might live through the winter, I don't know. But you do have a small target, so I would not recommend taking the frontal shot past 20, 25 yards at the very most. So we're at 20 yards here, slightly uphill, not as much as I thought. But you gotta envision where those lungs and those that heart would be.
Dead elk.
Let's go look at this real quick. So the height is what you're really concerned about here, and obviously in the center. But if you look at this arrow and its trajectory, this is actually, it looks perfect, but this is a little higher than I wanted to be. Maybe right in here. Elevation, you're right in here, man. That's double lung, it's a kill shot. So we are actually going through hunter safety with Gage right now. He's taking an online course, and one of the things they went over yesterday was shot angles and what's good, what's bad. And what's this one, Gage?
Face away.
Quartering.
Broadside, rear, Quartering and
Quartering
away.
and
Facing.
quartering towards. What's your best shot?
Broadside.
So I'm going to step over here, so it's a real hard quartering away. And so I'm going to look at that opposite shoulder and see where I need to enter to hit that opposite shoulder and hopefully pass through the lungs and the heart. Let's go look. So if you look at this initially, you're like, oh, that's a gut shot, great job. But just look at the travel of the arrow. This is the line it's going to take. Right on the opposite shoulder. This is where his lungs and his heart sits. Great thing about this shot is, yeah, you're going to pass through guts, but your arrows are going to penetrate all the way until it hits this opposite shoulder. It's going to take out anything in its path. It's going to zip through the guts, hit lungs, stick in the opposite shoulder. I'd say that's a pretty good shot. So I'm going to take one last shot, and I'm going to shoot where the target shows the vitals. I'm going to try to shoot through the 12 hole, and we're going to see where that arrow would end up. Let's go look. It's the best shot I made all day. So this is exactly in the 12 hole, right? And I'm quartering away. So let's look at the travel of the arrow, top of the arrow. I mean, you're gonna enter right there behind the shoulder, but it's such a hard angle, you're coming up right through here. You have a chance of clipping one of the lungs, to be honest. And you're probably gonna pass through the front, probably be a dead deer, but it's definitely not the best shot. You want to aim back where you can take out both lungs, pin that thing in the opposite shoulder. This might have missed. This might have clipped one lung, might have missed the lung, and just barely entered the body cavity. So it's good to practice, good to know. I think it's really good to know the anatomy of the deer. I'm glad the hunter safety course is going over that with the kids, because it's very important when you're out trying to take an animal's life, is know the best, quickest way to do that. So it's good practice too. Guys, the camera guy even comes up with some pretty good opinions.
That's some
pretty good
scientific
thoughts.
fact.
What's your thoughts?
So on a deer or an elk, they have rib cages which protect the organs. When they're broadside, the ribs sit like this, but when they're quartering away, your chances of going between the ribs go way down, because you can see it kind of makes a wall, which would be just bone because you're entering this way. But if you shoot more back, the rib cage ends, kind of does a thing like this and ends. If you shoot back, you have no chance of hitting the ribs, straight through the guts into the vitals. So I would say shooting back is a lot better than shooting forward, because you have the ribs in a different angle than you normally would.
Camera guy with some knowledge.
It's knowledge, dude.